Very long intro. Good morning again, everybody, and welcome to Tiki Hut Studios, the home of the Joe Knows Show. I'm your co-host, Mr. Ken Rose, and next to me is the one and only, here he is,
Joe Carlisle. That's right. Welcome to Joe Knows, the podcast. I am here with my dear friends Ken Rose and Miss Lisa Rose, Mrs. Lisa Rose, too. I'm actually really impressed, Lisa, during the intro. She was doing that whole walk like an Egyptian thing.
That's it. We got it going on now.
That's going to kind of date you a little bit, but we having a good day. What do we do this weekend, man?
This weekend was packed. Friday we were at the Kiwanis golf tournament serving shots. Thank God we were serving shots and I wasn't shooting shots.
Right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, right up my alley there. So we had that Friday.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We're definitely doing that.
We even watched a golf cart flip over.
Oh.
Obviously, too much alcohol.
No injuries, I hope.
Didn't look like it. Just a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of
screaming.
dirty words.
A lot of hurt pride.
What did we do Saturday? We were busy Saturday, too. Saturday was my mother's 80th birthday.
Wow.
So we surprised her. And my mom's a big Dr. Phil fan. So somebody ordered a giant Dr. Phil life-size poster for her. So I don't know if she's going to take that.
Cardboard thing.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to slide it next to her in bed in the evening. But anyway, it was a big
man.
Dr. Phil.
Picture I do not need this early in the morning, man.
And then Sunday we were at Little Anthony's for sips
and suds.
and suds and salsa, sips and salsa.
Sips and suds.
It was a little fundraiser for the Animal League and for GCCF.
Oh.
So we just provided a tent and we provided money.
But I find I'm always welcome when I provide money. Money usually makes me welcome everywhere.
I mean, the only disappointing thing about this weekend was at both events, no hot dogs.
No hot dogs.
And when you're in a golf cart and you're on the go, you want something that's easy to
You
carry.
want something easy? No, well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, this weekend I was out showing property to a customer out in the Spring Hill area, right? So driving out there, trying to help them out, their referral. Normally I would refer out that kind of business, but when somebody comes to you, they get a special situation and they come to you from somebody else, you want to make sure they get the full Joe treatment. The full Joe treatment, right? But last week I wasn't feeling good, man.
I heard.
I mean,
you didn't show up for your
I was a
meeting.
little stuffed up last week, and when we did the podcast, by the time I woke up Wednesday morning, I was in leave me alone mode.
So whenever they said at Thursday's meeting that Joe was sick, we're like, oh, we
Again?
just saw him Tuesday. Oh no.
It was just I had spent the weekend before with my granddaughter, down for the birthday party, and I came the next 2 days. I was in my office, and in my office there's an air conditioning vent literally right over my head, and so this blows down my neck, and I think the combination of the two really kind of created a perfect petri dish in Joe's body for a head
Perfect
cold.
cyclone.
Yep. And and so I didn't eat much for a couple of days, but man, by Friday night I was feeling a little bit better. And you get to this place when you're sick where you're not ready to prepare a meal. It's just me and Pat.
We're never ready to prepare.
Baby, don't waste your time. If you want something, go get it. And I opened up the fridge. It was literally the perfect thing. I had 2 leftover Nathan's hot dogs from earlier in the week. And it was just what I needed. It was a little bit of protein. I had the bun, so I had some bready stuff to sit in my stomach and absorb all of that. A little bit of carb up, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit. It was just it made me feel human again to eat a nice Nathan's all beef hot dog.
Only the best, man. Only the best for us.
Only the best. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with my wife. I looked at them and I said, "These aren't those chicken dogs, are they?" And she was like, "Honey, you've taught me after all these years." I was like, well, good. It only took me 20 years to get you to understand what my preference was.
Right. Spend a few extra dollars for a quality product.
For a quality product. So.
I would never bring anything into the house other than all beef.
All beef is the only way to go.
All beef. We love our hot dogs. All beef.
Most definitely.
That's right.
So that was our weekend. So that was pretty much your weekend. Enjoying a couple of hot dogs and getting better.
Well, it was getting better. And it was kind of cool that these people don't get together much, so I'm trying to help them. The husband works in Tampa, and when they moved here a year ago from Texas, they lived in Perry, and because of the distance between Perry and Tampa, he only gets to see his wife and kids every 2 weeks. So they're trying to get closer to the Tampa area where he can come home every night. So they don't get to come together much. So I had to, even though I wasn't feeling totally up to snuff on Saturday, I had told them I would show them houses, and we set up several houses to see. And actually, it's a long drive, but you know what? There was some restorative healing factor in I had a purpose.
Right.
Right. I had to go do it. It didn't matter that I wasn't quite 100%. I felt bad for them, actually, because the first couple of houses we went to, I felt I was really kind of phoning it in and just going through the motions. By the time we were out Sunday, I was like full on clicked in. I'd written one offer already for them. And, and of course, in today's world, you can't just sit around and wait 3 days for an offer, right? You've got to get out, keep looking, keep writing offers. But that really helped me get on the recovery track, was just having that purpose, sitting at the desk, filling out the contract,
I'm sorry, I'm chuckling a little bit. I was thinking about what you said, because Joe wasn't feeling well. He's going through the motions, and being in real estate, there's nothing more exciting about taking a prospective home buyer through the house and going through the motions. And a home buyer, they are so excited when you let them know the room they are in is the kitchen.
Yeah.
Check out the kitchen. Oh my God, that's a kitchen. I can't believe I'm actually in one. That's going through the motions as a real estate agent.
It is.
This is the master bedroom.
It is.
Well, it must be, because it's the only room that the bathroom's attached to.
Or you're looking at
I was cracking up.
You're looking at a house from like 1970, right? And the master bathroom then was a completely different. I mean, it had a toilet and a shower and a sink. It's like
it was like
7
prison.
by 7. It's smaller than a cell. It was a place just to do your business and get it. And that was like big. If you had a bathroom, I come from New England. The primary bedroom was the biggest bedroom.
Right.
It didn't necessarily have an ensuite, right?
No, we didn't have one either.
It was the biggest bedroom with the most windows.
We had the master bedroom, and my parents had an entrance to the bathroom from their bedroom and an entrance from the hallway, because we only had one full bath.
Right.
For 6 people.
Yep.
It was, and then when we had a housekeeper, it was 7. But, 7 people showering in one tub.
Although that house that we had the listing for in Orange City, you walked in and we were questioning what each room was, because it was one of those homes that started X amount of square feet, and then they added on.
They kept
and
adding.
They added on. And
like a Lego.
You're like, I think this is the master bedroom, and then where's the bathroom? Well, it's like part of it, but it's almost in part of a laundry room that's attached.
It's like around the corner, around the back.
Sometimes you don't really know what.
We were in one of those on Saturday. It was built in 1925, and as you walked through the house, I was like, okay, this was the original 1-bedroom house. Then they built the upstairs, and if they built stairs, if they included an attic, right? They converted an attic. Those stairs aren't what we accept today as a natural rise.
No, they're like,
they're like,
Yeah.
You could put half your foot on it, and better hold on to the handrail. But there was like obviously what had been a carport, which was 3-story, 5 steps down and was below the level of the ground. And, there was a porch that had been converted. So, yeah, it's 2,800 square feet, but the original house was like 900 square feet.
Tax record's 900 square feet. No bathroom.
So it's cool seeing those, because I'm always fascinated by what people did to accommodate for what they needed.
Right.
There was a time that people did that because they lived generations in a house,
sure,
and that expanded to account for their family and their lifestyle, not necessarily because they were going to flip it and make more money.
A 3-bedroom, 3-kitchen house.
Yeah. Whereas today we have, literally, this is probably changing, but for the last 20 years, there's almost been a disposable attitude about housing.
Well, I
live in this house 3 years. And
I think it's an American thing.
Yeah.
I think it's strictly an American thing where we build buildings, we tear them down, we put up another building.
Yeah.
It's just a waste.
That didn't happen a lot up in New England, where I'm from, because almost every building is, historic of some sort. I mean, the building's got to be really bad to come down, but they do it all the time here in Florida. I think I told you the story
Everywhere.
about those 1930s bungalows that they ripped down right here in Claremont. I was like, oh my God, all that handcrafted architecture you just ripped out. So you're going to throw up some McMansion, you know.
Well, that was big.
Some of them they kept and remodeled, but some of them they leveled.
Yeah, that was big a few years ago in downtown Orlando in Colonial Town, where there are a lot of bungalows. They ripped them down and they build these, tall, skinny, 2-3
Three-story, ugly.
ugly kind of things. But I guess it's space. Space is valuable. Land is valuable.
That's wherever you are,
Hey,
but that's how I spent the weekend,
Nice. And I know what Lisa did because she was with me.
Yeah.
The news has been unbelievably crazy. I mean, there's so much going on. There's Johnny Depp going through his thing.
Yeah.
An American Idol was
Johnny.
arrested. Oh.
I'm Team Johnny.
Oh, Team Johnny. An American Idol was arrested for putting a listening device in his girlfriend's room. There's the ghost of Kyiv. And evidently the Supreme Court is leaking information. There's only 7 people that could leak it.
Don't forget.
What the hell's going on there?
Don't forget the whole forgiveness of student debt.
Well,
This is a whole nother story,
Well, I need forgiveness of my mortgage then. We all make mistakes. Let's get some money back from everybody.
I heard Mike Rowe, who's the host of a show that was Dirty Jobs, and now he's like America Works or something. He's got a new show.
Oh yeah, he's the voice for Crap Show.
Yeah. So he actually made this point on a show I was watching last night. He says, there are people that decided not to buy an overpriced 4-year degree, and they went out into the market and they borrowed $50,000-$60,000 so they could buy tools and a truck and actually went to work building America, and nobody's offering to forgive their debt.
Right.
And I thought, man, what a political football this is. I mean, I tend to think this is going to be one of those things that people think it's going to get them votes, but it's going to have like the opposite effect. It's going to get them some votes, but it's going to irritate everybody else so much that it's going to push them away as opposed to attract them.
Yeah, like Hunter paying, for a truck and all the tools
Just to start his business.
He's not getting any.
Yeah, he should get some sort of a reimbursement. But
just because it's not college.
Well, that's the thing. I first of all, and I don't want to get started on the education system, but I think the educational system is very outdated. It's very 19th and 20th century, and somebody has to set the law down with these colleges to stop offering degrees in things where people can't earn a living, or base the price of the tuition on the degree that they can get and the money they can earn.
Well, it was one of the points that he made is that this forgiving of tuition does nothing to incentivize the colleges to actually drop the cost of tuition.
They're all profit.
I mean, they're technically non-profit organizations, but they're profiting like the directors of the big institutions, the Ivy League schools, they get paid millions of dollars a year.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
And you get professors who are grossly arrogant, and they've got tenure, and they've been there, and they're getting paid hundreds of thousands. And I remember when I went to college, I actually had a professor who had to leave the field because he couldn't support his family on what a college professor, as much as he loved it, he had to go back into the workforce because he had kids he had to support, and him and his wife were both professors, and they still couldn't support a family.
Well, we were talking about that. I think last week we were talking about that on Income 6. $60,000 or $70,000 for a family of 4 doesn't go far at all.
No,
especially in this town.
No, no, it doesn't go. I mean, unless you're in some place like Bootlick, Alabama, in the middle of nowhere. Right. But if you're in Bootlick, Alabama, they don't pay $60,000-$70,000
exactly
to do most jobs.
Well, like Lisa and I were talking, I think yesterday about you graduate with a business degree and you go work in the hotel industry, hotel and tourism, and you start at $25,000 a year. $500 a week. Yep. You're really have no money.
And if you're in this town, you need 6 roommates.
At least every room has 3 bunk beds. So, it is unbelievable.
So what about the Supreme Court thing, man? This is.
Well, you know what? We're going to come back in just a little bit and talk about that, and talk about people with big mouths that just
people with
put
big
shit out
mouths.
there.
Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers with Brand Squad's memorable promotional products. Simple marketing, effective results. We do the thinking. You do the winning. Brand Squad, on point with your promotional products.
Supremely us and the Supreme Court.
And the
Here we
Supreme
go.
Court. Hang on. Miss Lisa, you made a disparaging comment just now about these scones. Okay.
Blech.
They might look like dog biscuits, but they are yummy.
No,
okay,
They're
they
delicious.
are yummy.
Cardboard or something.
I love these things. They're designed to
Sawdust.
That's like saying a biscotti is too dry.
That's exactly right.
Designed to dip into
Now,
something.
I haven't dipped one of those, so.
Oh, by the way, if you want to come on the show and you're funny, we usually have coffee. Today we've got cinnamon scones. We've got lemon poppy seed muffins. We've got blueberry muffins. So you can always get fed while you're here.
The snacky snacks.
Yeah, we call them the snacky snacks.
Right here at the Tiki Hut Studios. Come on down to the Joe Knows Show.
Hey, that's a whole brand. Maybe that's you and I will be millionaires by starting the snacky
Snacky
snack
snack.
brand.
Snacky Snack Brand. And just announced, Joe and I are starting a university, the University of Us.
That's right.
And tuition's quite high, but you're going to learn a shitload of information.
That's right.
And you're going to get free breakfast every day.
Hey, and look, all the information we teach you, you'll actually be able to use in the marketplace.
That is correct. That is correct.
That's almost a scary proposition, isn't it? Is that the people
You just have to
somebody
get
who
accredited, Joe. Just got to get accredited.
But that's the problem. The people you'd have to get accredited to wouldn't want to because you'd obviously be massively successful, right?
You want to learn how to run business? We'll tell you.
That's right. We are going to have a university where we will teach you no useless shit.
You'll never have to conjugate a verb or figure out an algebraic equation.
Maybe the basics. Maybe the basics.
Pluses, minuses.
You know,
Return on investment.
One
That's what
thing
you
about
know.
that's good about trade school is you're actually learning about your trade.
You're learning about your trade. Absolutely.
Pointless classes just to fill
And
your
I
time
think-
and take your money.
You know, the thing Micro was talking about, I think that irritates the heck out of him is that he's got this foundation that's provided in the last 5 years, $7 million of scholarships for people to actually go get a trade school education and go to work. And, he was talking about how everybody they've given a scholarship to is actually working in successful,
Sure.
they're out there slogging it out. So
Part of
it's-
it.
A lot of the problem with the education system is that it has become less about education and more about an excuse not to work for the next 4 years. I mean, when you and I were in school, or at least when I was in school, when I got out of the Marine Corps, and so I was older. I got out of the Marine Corps, and we've talked about this before. Unless you were extremely wealthy, like extremely, billionaire type wealthy, high 1% wealthy, the assumption was you worked. Even the well-to-do families I knew where guys went to, because the assumption was they were going to go actually work at dad's company in the summer.
Sure.
And many of them maintained jobs like I did during the year. It was full-time school, part-time job, part-time job, full-time school.
I was both full-time school, full-time print shop job.
I was the
it.
same way. I was,
But it was good. That's why I'm
Yeah.
here today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing because I don't think I could be a veterinarian without a license. That was always a dream to be a veterinarian, but
Well, you could.
C students don't get very far in life, or in college anyway.
Do you know, my kids just told me when all of them became seniors, they're like, Dad, C's and D's get degrees.
Yeah. Your employer never asks for your
Yes,
report card. Just you're the sheet of paper.
But A's and B's get scholarships.
Well, yeah.
They get money. So
Yeah.
So what about the Supreme Court, man? This is kind of disappointing, actually.
I feel like what goes on is everything but avoiding the important things to the United States citizens. It's everything to segue from what everybody needs right now, and I think it's just another thing. Let's worry about this, I'm not going to form an opinion either way, just because I have my own personal views on it. Personally, I don't think the government needs to get involved in everything that an individual does. I think that there are many reasons and whys and hows people have to do or whatever they do. As long as they're not you know,
I think this story is frankly
it's a weird thing.
I think this story is frankly less about the information that was leaked and more about the fact that it was leaked. Is it? I mean, think about that.
Yeah, I mean, 7 people knew it.
Yes.
So I mean, how
well,
did it get
7
leaked?
people and their staff, right? Because they're not running the copier, right? They're not running these things.
Right.
So somebody thought that they were self-righteous enough to think that they could betray 238 years of tradition and code and ethics. And I mean, to some degree, I don't feel sorry for them, but I don't think this person probably thought out, because it's a young lawyer. You know, if you work in the Supreme Court, you're a lawyer. Right. So, you know, just the idea that you would leak that, if it becomes public, you'll never practice law again. You shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, that's an ethical violation. I mean,
I agree.
You just don't understand that confidentiality thing, which is kind of, you know, the two things we know as an American society is you can trust your priest and your lawyer.
Well, I mean, you know how it goes. I tell you something in private, Joe, and you say, hey, look, don't tell anybody. But it's such a juicy bit of information that you tell somebody, and all of a sudden everybody knows, you know. And,
can you fill me in on this? Because I don't know.
Oh,
the story.
There
Some
was
of us don't know.
There was a leak that the Supreme Court may possibly overturn Roe v. Wade.
Oh, okay, yes.
So, you know, personally, I'll just say this. Men should not tell women what to do with their bodies.
Do you know, I feel the same way. You know, it's frankly...
You know, I don't care which side you fall on. A man should not tell a woman what to do with her body.
Here's the thing. I personally don't believe in abortion. But I have for decades really felt that as a man, I am not in a place as a man where I should weigh in on yes or no.
Correct.
Right? It's not my opinion to sway.
Right.
Okay. And if I don't believe in abortion, there are other ways I can support that cause than opening my mouth, you know, and telling people. So that said, somebody leaked this, but this was a draft opinion. It's not even a final opinion. It was a draft opinion that was started back in February. It wasn't due out till June, which means the way a draft opinion works is it's the first thinkings when they've examined the case. It's the first thinkings of the impression. The justices haven't talked it out amongst each other. They haven't sit in a room and said, well, what about this? Well, let's look at this case. So the draft opinion is not necessarily the final opinion.
Right.
Okay. Which is the reason they call the final draft the final draft. The draft opinion says, this is what my first impressions are. And then the justices sit there and talk to each other and sway somebody who might be in the middle so that they can come down with an opinion. Well, the problem with this is now the draft opinion is out there and it's stirring up all this this angst and drama. And my wife and a great many other people feel this is, you know, the left is having some problems as far as polling goes and the issues today. And my wife feels that this is a distraction event.
Correct.
That they needed something to rally around that wasn't the economy, that wasn't the border crisis. Now they have this, you know, they're going to take it. And I really don't believe Roe v. Wade will ever get turned over. Abortion is legal. What I believe is that it's, and the way I believe this draft was stated is that this opinion says that Roe v. Wade was based on weak precedent and that it was never the federal government's right to decide for every state how to regulate it. They decided it was legal. It's now up to states to regulate it. So this gets complicated because now people are like, and
states are doing self-regulation.
They are doing they're already regulating, which is why it ends up in front of the Supreme Court all the time, is because every time a state tries to regulate it, it gets up in front of the Supreme Court. What this decision would do would not overturn Roe v. Wade, as in states could make it illegal. It would say that states have the obligation to do it.
But they can set their own rules.
Right. And everybody's saying, well, then there would be several states that would, have it be totally restrictive. Well, then don't live in that state.
Right.
So if 20 states say you can't, that still leaves 30 states that say you can. Go across the border,
it's. Look, I think it's another deterrent from everything that's going on right
it's
now.
a distraction. And what irritates me is when you see the news come across. People are all over social media, and what is crazy to me is people are. I saw one this morning. When I was born in 1972, when the Roe v. Wade, and this is a list of other things women couldn't do. Well, and they make this big long list that, at one time was true, but not in 1972. I mean, one of them was single women couldn't get prescribed birth control. False. That's wrong in every state in the union. Maybe in some small town.
Right.
Again, we're back to Bootlick, Alabama, where your family doctor
Those
had
of you
his
that
own.
live in Bootlick, no offense.
Yeah.
If there is a town.
I don't think there is a Bootlick, Alabama. I'm just using, forgive me, Alabamans, but let's face it, you got some small country towns there.
Go Gators.
But, if you were in a city, that was, that was not an issue. I mean, things like, an unmarried woman couldn't get a credit card in her name. Also false. We're not talking it was 1952. We're talking 72. So you get all these distractions about what it means. And what it really means is they want to distract you from the real problems.
The issue right now is inflation. The cost of food, cost of, fuel. Rent, the cost of things right now, that's what needs to be addressed. And,
it's kind of like, I see this in the left. They are constantly looking for a Vietnam type issue where they could all rally around a broad base of support and everybody could get behind. And they try to form the narrative that says that this is morally and legally abhorrent. And the problem, I think, with the whole abortion issue in this realm is that there is so much birth control available today. There are so many alternatives to, so many types of abortion that we really are. Technology has gone far beyond what it was in 1972. So to get all riled up about this before the decision ever comes down. Now, of course, in the base, there are people that feel that this influences the decision now. So do the judges, do they now react to what's going on and come down with a decision they might not have come down on? And is that fair? Does that mean appeals? Are you looking for another case down the road to make this happen?
I think they need to focus on more important things.
I do too.
Many, many more important things.
Well, I think they need to plug that leak.
Yeah.
It's one thing for the White House to leak. It's quite another one for the Supreme Court to
White House always floods information out to the public. But anyway, on a more positive note, I was reading The Ghost of Kiev.
The Ghost.
And for those of you that haven't been following the news, there's this superhero that is shooting down Russian fighter jets, 2 or 3 at a time, half a dozen a day, and it's all a myth.
It was propaganda.
But the great thing behind it was the Ukrainian people had a superhero that they could look up to and be proud. Oh, he's going for us. So it created that nationalism and that positive feeling. Yes, let's go fight with the Ghost of Kiev. So I thought that was pretty cool, though.
Next Halloween costume.
Well, it's a ghost. You really don't need a costume. You just come in and say, "Where's Ken?"
He's got a cape with Zelensky's face on it.
Yeah, woo! But I thought that was very. What a great marketing ploy.
Do you know there's in wars like that there is, and actually in most wars where ideology is important, there's always some character like that. Mm-hmm. Germany and the Soviet Union during World War II did it with snipers. They actually made movies about these guys. And of course, there was a movie made in the U.S. called Enemy at the Gates, and it's about the real story of the Russian side of that sniper. But they made these movies about these guys who were supposed to be these big famous, these champions of the cause, and it's just nothing but propaganda. Many times it was, anytime you see this, these are just guys that are surviving and doing what it takes to live.
Kind of like Captain America story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain America.
Captain America. Woo!
Too much. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, as usual, to let our sponsor speak. And by the way, if you would like to sponsor the show, reach out to Joe, Lisa, or I. Let us know. If you don't have a commercial and you want to shoot something here, you're welcome to come down to the studio, do a show, and we can roll like that. Let me reset.
You have a great business. You know it. Your employees know it. And so do we. So how do we get everyone else to know it? And how can you do it cost-effectively? It's simple. Use EDDM. EDDM is a direct mail marketing program from the United States Postal Service named Every Door Direct Mail, and it allows you to get your message out for a fraction of the cost of a stamp. Here's how it works. Start by contacting your local Minuteman Press. We are your EDDM experts. Together, we will manage these important steps. First, set a budget that will give you the biggest ROI. Second, design a creative mail marketing piece with an awesome offer. Third, choose the best delivery routes based on demographics and geography. Fourth, print, bundle, and take your mail to the delivery post office. Fifth, manage a schedule for distribution using USPS mail carriers. 70% of people surveyed say that receiving mail is more personal than the internet. And 73% of consumers say they prefer direct mail for brand communication because they can read it at their convenience. With cost-effective EDDM, you can maximize your return on investment. Minuteman Press is your EDDM and direct mail experts. You know your business. We know how to promote it. We are the modern printing industry. Find your nearest Minuteman Press at minutemanpress.com.
We'll just get that airdrop.
Whew.
I mean, it's hot here. As you can see, Joe and I are live at Panama City Beach.
Man, one of these
It is
days,
a beautiful beach, and boy, I'll tell you.
It's going to be the Speedo and the tank top.
Speedo and
That's
the
it.
tank top. Always good to track Joe, make sure he's not at a beach near you. But anyway. What?
I'll be frozen.
All right. Well, we're back. Welcome back. If you stayed with the show, at least hopefully you stayed with the show.
That's right.
If not, you're missing out.
That's
Any
right.
viewers today?
That's right.
What?
I don't think we've had any
No
viewers.
viewers today. And I was going to talk about business leaders. Boy,
Oh, boy.
sucks,
We'll
doesn't it?
talk about that. We'll talk
It's a
about
busy
that.
Tuesday for people, I guess.
I guess.
They don't have time to Facebook today.
Well, it is the 3rd, so a lot of people are pre-gaming for Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
All of a sudden,
Yes, it's the
that's
3rd.
like the ultimate drinking holiday.
Tomorrow is the important day, though.
That is the 4th.
May the 4th
May the
be
4th
with you.
Oh, may the 4th be with you. Yes, of course.
May the
Star Wars. Yeah. I saw a whole Star Wars calendar for May of these different, Friday the Seath, stuff, all that crap going on. Kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, woo, my ears are sweating. It's hot in here.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. We didn't talk about this earlier. What do you think about the Ministry of Truth?
What the hell is the Ministry
The
of...
Ministry of Truth.
Sounds like a game
the
show.
government is, there's been a flap the last few days about the government has announced they're starting a board of disinformation.
I thought that's all that we
And
hear
it's-
anyway is
it's-
disinformation.
But this is going to be a board that polices disinformation. Of course, they can't define what disinformation is, and
Like
they
Facebook,
announced
when
it.
you get flagged for
Well,
posting something.
They came out and they announced it, and of course they've appointed this woman who is notoriously to one side of the aisle, obviously on the left, who apparently said the Hunter Biden laptop was false, and that she had proof that she and the Congress had proof that Donald Trump was in bed with Russia, and that Russia had influenced the election. She propagated things like the Russians had the tape of Donald with prostitutes and peeing and all this crazy stuff. And so So the question becomes,
But Joe, he was.
Yeah.
I think both of his wives were from Russia or Ukraine.
Well,
so I
yes.
think he has been in bed with Russians.
but not in Russia.
Oh, well, maybe if he was
Not in
visiting her in
Russia,
Russia.
that's
Or Czechoslovakia, I think she was. I don't know where she was from.
So the big flap becomes, well, how do we appoint somebody who to be in charge of disinformation who really like violently pushed disinformation?
We could do that.
You
on
know,
this
what
show.
is
We
it?
can prove everybody wrong.
Was it? And the question is, so it sounds when they talk about this, 1984, the book by George Orwell had the Ministry of Truth, and for many years we have talked about avoiding. That's like, the propaganda ministry. That's straight out of Nazi Germany. I mean, what's true? Who defines what's true and what's not? So the government has backed up a little bit and said, oh, it's in the Department of Homeland Security. So it becomes a law enforcement agency, which means they have arrest powers, police powers, fining powers.
So we become the Gestapo.
We become the Gestapo, and it's so they're saying no, it's not that.
Okay.
It's not that, but it's
That's what they always say. Oh, it's not that, and then it is that.
Yeah, I'm reminded of an old
What?
who's
I was
it?
looking
Cheech and
at the-
Chong, an old Cheech and Chong skit where these it smells like dog shit. It looks like dog shit. Tastes like dog shit. Must be dog shit. If it smells like it, if it looks like it, if it tastes like it, it's
It is.
probably it.
What are you laughing about?
Well, as you guys talk, you know how it shows on my phone. It says when you said must become Gestapo, it said must become Gustavo, and then now when he's saying smells like dog shit, whatever, it's like dog ... Dog ...
So
So it like edits.
we're
things out.
already being
We're
censored.
already
Joe.
being censored.
14 shows and we're censored already.
Through Facebook.
That's kind of nuts. And they're saying, "Oh, well, we're not gonna do people's speech," and I'm like, I don't see how you avoid it, right? I mean, we're only gonna do it. We're only gonna do it where we're looking for people who are connected to violence. Oh, okay. I mean, so you're gonna like start doing things like, the Ayatollah, right, or BLM, right? These guys going to be censored? Probably not.
I think BLM is done. I think the president bought a mansion in Beverly Hills or something. I don't know.
They're not done. That's
Oh, okay,
scary.
maybe
But
they're
I've
not.
seen this guy on TV. He's like, that has nothing. The assets of the organization have nothing to do with the message. What?
Though, talking about violence, this is something that really ticks me off. I just read an article that the violence has escalated at children's sporting events to the point of people bringing guns,
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
fist fights, beating up refs. Where, as an adult, have we decided that it's important to do those things at a game that means nothing, at an event that means nothing? It just blows my mind that coaches get into fist fights, and then somebody brings a gun, they shot a few people. I don't think anybody passed away, but I'm like, it's just a children's
There was
game.
a video of a shooting of they're taking a video of the game, and you could hear the shots and the way people react.
Gosh.
And so here's the thing. I think part of that is cultural, right? But part of it, I think, is
But what have we become?
well, there comes a place now where I think that people, while in general people are having kids older, what that really should say is stable people are having children older.
Right.
College educated people are having children
correct.
older. People that are not are still having children young, and unfortunately we don't teach responsibility anymore.
Right.
So many times people who have, and I saw this when my children were in Pop Warner football.
Hang on a second. Can you just help that client up front? They're picking up Salute postcards. It's already paid for. One of our
That's right.
clients is here picking up an order. So
Real
let's take care of
business in real time. So what ends up happening is I saw this in Pop Warner football, is that they are living vicariously through their children.
Well, that's very
Okay.
common, but the violence.
Well, but that's because they're not mature, and they did many people don't have that. Our culture has shifted because of a lack of good male role models.
Correct.
You know,
Right.
and I mean, if you don't have somebody in your life, I'm sorry to whack your butt, you know, when you're little, and nobody to put you in the corner, you know, when you're 7 or 8, and nobody to tell you you're grounded when you're 13, you know, and that there's consequences to your actions. You haven't figured that out when you're 24, 25, and you have a kid who's 7 or 8.
No, I agree. I'm just so, you know, I'm just beside myself. I've been involved with children's sports for many years, and yes, there's the occasional shout, "You made a bad call," or "Why didn't my kid play first base?" or things like that. But the violence has to stop at all levels. It's just so unnecessary. There's no money involved. You know, your 8-year-old all-star second baseman is not going to the major leagues. Stop dreaming for them. You know.
But that's part of the whole cultural thing, and is back to this Roe v. Wade thing. People are getting involved with this like it's affecting their life, right? It's that whole when you see people get upset about politics. They're like raving, crazy, angry, and I'm like, well, look, you got every 2 years you can go into a booth and
change
vote.
that. That's right.
You know, and you can have an opinion, but getting your life all discombobulated because of it is almost ridiculous. And that ends up in sports, you know? I mean, I got to tell you, I used to be a rageaholic, and I am not. I do still have a little bit of a short fuse, especially if I'm angry, you know? But the thing that I've learned at my advanced age is that I can't remember 99% of the crap that had me angry.
Correct.
2 years ago. You know, that I was a hill that I was ready to die on, you know, was just not important enough for me to remember. Can't remember the guy. I can remember what I did. I can remember the trouble I got in. I can't quite remember what really set me off, or, you know. It's that, and we don't teach that anymore. We don't have people to teach us, look, you know, I mean, you got to scale it down. What's important about that, you know?
I think I learned probably when Hunter was 10-ish, playing Little League. And I mean, you know, we always teach winning. I don't believe in the everybody wins. I believe that you play hard, you do your best, and if you win, fantastic. But I realized when he was about 9 or 10, after the game was over, whether his team won or lost, he's talking with the other players. They're more concerned about getting a snack at the concession. And I said, you know what? It's all irrelevant.
That's right.
It's all irrelevant because the game's over. The kids could care less if they won or lost, you know, 10 minutes later. And so as adults, we have to consider that, you know, and I think even in the professional level, I think after a professional team loses, you know, where do you see them? They're on the field shaking hands with their opponents. They're exchanging jerseys with their opponents, and they're going on. And they're being paid. I mean, so...
Yeah, well, they're also going to be in that nightclub you and I can't even get in the line of.
But but pulling guns at children's athletic events is it's unbelievably an awful thing.
And I'll tell you the video that I saw, and I've seen it several times now, where the guns start popping off and people start hitting the ground. You understand the kids, and they're running off in the other direction, and you see parents in the stands running off. The one that I'm amazed at is the ref that like hit the ground and did nothing, but he's surrounded by kids. I'm like, seriously, dude, you're the adult. These guys are like 7 years old. Why you should be like
diving on them.
Diving on them. You should be pushing them away. You should, you know.
Well, because a lot of times, especially I've seen in indoor like basketball games, where fans go after the referees, and I've seen them get beaten, you know, and ganged up on. It's just because you made a bad call, you missed a call. I mean, come on.
Well, and again,
when is it enough?
Again, but you're dealing with, you know, a cultural.
Yeah, you're dealing with a lot of
cultural absolute. Right. You know, and we talk about it's not just the lack of role models, right? I mean, it's the lack of role models, and now as opposed to educators and the education system being our partners in raising our children, right? We have to be cautious of them indoctrinating our children, which is where they get some of it. They go to school and they have the seemingly cool teacher who teaches them how to be an activist, and encourages activism, which I am not against, but you got to pick and choose what's important.
You have to be careful of your role models.
Yeah.
I mean, athletes and celebrities aren't role models. I mean, they just not, unless you see an athlete doing good deeds, or somebody doing good things. I mean, some are, but you don't know them personally. So now our youth is using TikTok. What do you call them?
What?
Influencers.
Yeah.
As role models. And they too hide behind the lens, and you don't know the story of their lives or what's true or false. And these kids are like, oh, that influencer, she's she's, I got to be like that, and you don't know that person's life,
Well, and
who knows what that person's doing.
It's not just that. It's why are you making, because it looks like they have when I was a kid, I wanted to be a movie star. Right? I mean, I became an actor because I wanted to be a movie star because that seemed like a cool job.
Right.
Act in front of the TV, get in front of the camera, get cool, get paid millions of dollars. I mean, it seemed like a cool gig. And then I got out of the Marine Corps and I went to college and I got some education. I started getting some of these jobs. These guys show up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Even the Marines are sleeping.
I mean, these guys, they get there's one of the hardest parts of being on a movie set is downtime.
Right.
Is sitting there waiting for your 10 minutes. And of course, stars obviously have more time on set, but they have a lot of downtime too. It's literally hours sometimes in between things. And you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and then there's work. It's you have to prepare. Getting the job was a job all by itself. I mean, training for business and marketing, you had to have a system. I mean, it's that problem of the image of what I think the influencer does or the athlete does.
It's an image.
It's an image.
It's an image.
All right. So we're going to actually go to commercial break. We're going to hear from our sponsors again. Again, if you want to sponsor the show, just reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about it, and we'll give you a really good deal.
Yeah, we'll have the next last segment coming up in just a few.
Just a few. Don't go away.
Yeah, it was on my Facebook feed. A friend of mine plays in a band, and they're doing a Disney gig, and so they had to be there at 4 o'clock this morning because they have to set up and rehearse before people actually see them set up and rehearse, because they don't want the guests to think that.
Because it's all part of the magic. They just
it's all magic. They just come in and there it is.
Great. They don't have to practice.
Yeah, so
it's part of the magic.
It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, it's the same way with rock and roll, right? I mean, people think you're going to come in and you're going to do all the drugs and you're going to perform. And, the serious people, they show up and they got, they're there doing sound checks and voice checks, and they're rehearsing, they're going over a set.
But that's rough, because you see the rock star and you're like, oh, man, I'd love to do that. 2.5 hours on stage. Yeah. But you don't see behind the scenes.
Well, and you don't see the 5 years it took of them working in clubs and writing songs and crammed into a Yugo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even still, when I was working for Minuteman Corporate, and I was traveling all over the U.S. and Canada. I mean, when I first was doing it, I was 24. Being in hotels, I loved it, and then it's like, okay, I'm getting ready to fly home, and they're like, oh no, you got to fly here. I'm like, not another hotel. And you get tired of it because you're just tired of living in hotels. Even though everything's paid for, it's like, I just want to be home. I just want to be home.
I had a gig that...
At home with our fresh sheets.
Fresh sheets. Fresh sheets. All right.
Wait, he was about to say something.
No, go ahead. We're back on air, and we're still shooting a breeze. So
I was going to say, I had a gig once working for something called the... I don't remember what it was. It was a theater company. It was a traveling theater company. It was a lot of fun. It was it was one-act shows. It was a team of us. We put up the set and everything, did schools, right? It was a lot of fun. But you're right, okay? We were just talking about how, we see the celebrity. We see the rock star.
We see the end result.
The end result. What we don't see is the 5 years of slogging it out to get there. And So, there was a lot of training and a lot of work in getting that job. But even once I got the job, it was a lot of driving to the school to set up the set.
Mm-hmm.
We had to leave out at 4 a.m. so that we could be at the school when they opened the gate, so that when the kids arrived, we could do the show and have time to break down, load up the van, go to the next school, do it all over again, which was great the first month. And
then it wears out.
And then it wears out. You're in the hotel. It gets old. You're with a guy that you didn't choose to be with. He was hired.
Right.
And I mean, he has his own gig, and you have the way you live, and you've got a producer's trying to save money. So every now and then you were staying in somebody's home, so you had to be on your best behavior, especially when you just wanted to kind of let it all hang out, or back in those days when I had to go find a piece of forest to smoke a joint in or whatever.
Now you can just light up anywhere.
Well,
But it is. I think
it's not illegal anymore.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal. No, I think that's
to be clear, I don't smoke marijuana anymore.
But a couple years back, I was doing a solo acoustic thing and going, into different bars, and it's 3 hours on stage, but it's run home, load my truck full of all my gear, get to the venue, unload all the gear, set up all the gear, play for 3 hours, break down all the gear. It's like a 6-hour gig for $200. It's like, really? It's not worth it. But
it's
anyway,
like a lot of people look at what we do and they think, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I'll go do that, and well, there's the setup for guests that sometimes don't show up.
There's issues where you think you're streaming for an entire hour and you're not.
That's right.
There's learning processes, and we're both still learning how to get the views, how to get the eyeballs on the thing. We're both learning what the best way to get up onto YouTube, and we access but there's a lot of work that goes into this 1 hour.
Yeah, just 1 hour of us talking is the three of us in here is nothing.
Right.
It's everything beyond that, and I think the biggest key to success to anybody, dedication. And when you do this with a spouse, you do this with a friend, you have a commitment to each other to do the show, to get the show done. And that's why we're very consistent.
It was last week. I felt a little bit of a head cold coming on, but this was the thing I was not blowing off unless, I was sick with COVID at the beginning of the year. That kind of put me down,
right.
But even today, I'm not quite fully recovered.
He's never quite there. It's okay, though.
But I knew that when I woke up this morning with all intention of getting up at 6 a.m., when I got out of bed at 6 a.m., I was like, no, that's not happening. I'm going back for another hour. But this was happening. This is a non-negotiable because this is what gets you to that place. And I think that we're back to the cultural, where does the violence come from?
Right.
It's that idea that anything is instant or that terribly important, Ken and I might have a disagreement about something someday. So far we haven't really had that kind of a conflict, but we're at a place where we would work it out because
we're adults.
We're adults. We're grown-ups. And I think that's the biggest problem is you don't have adults in charge anymore.
Well, people make mountains out of molehills, really. And there's so many things that you can negotiate. If you have a disagreement or whatever the case is, certain things are non-negotiable. Cheating on a spouse is non-negotiable, things like that. But you just can't. Life's too short, man.
Unless you live in Utah. Life
is too short. But this show, and Lisa will tell you, Monday night I'm like, and then I can't sleep Monday night because the pressure to do the show. And there's really and there is that pressure. But then, like Lisa mentioned last week, there's this euphoria after the show that, wow, we just did another show, and, here we go. So
there's also a level of faith, I think, that if you and I keep doing, and this happens to anything you want to take on to do, is there has to be a level of faith that if we're consistent enough over time, it's not just the joy of the show. We believe that at some point, somebody will become a sponsor that we will catch. We're still, while we found our groove, I'm not sure we've found our niche. And so, but we're willing to work that out because that comes around when it comes around. right? It's something that we find. Maybe we only become local. I even hate use the word celebrities, but local personalities to help promote other people's businesses or to help people at live events, which we'd get a lot of joy out of and maybe get a little bit of compensation from.
We probably do need to do some events to get.
Yeah. I think a live show would be great. In the right venue.
Right.
Have guests pop in. We can really take this to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have a joy of doing it, because right now Joe and I are making $0. But we're building our brand. We're building the Joe Knows Show, and we're getting our names out there. And so as a sponsor, you begin to get your name out there in a different, maybe unorthodox format.
Right.
So.
And this collaboration helps us both. I like to think that I helped Ken start up the Profiles in Print again.
Yep.
A bit of encouragement and
And then Joe's got his little thing.
I've got my little thing, the Marketing Minute, the Carlisle Report. We're going to talk about that at some point in time. But again, we're not looking for instant success.
Correct.
We know that when we get 200 or 300 pieces of content online, something we can work with, something we're adjusting with, we trust that the piece of content that we do today is better than the piece of content we did in December.
Well, we have our groove.
We have our groove. We have our spot.
But and part of that is collaborating, which is huge. And I'm going to jump to something else real quick, just because I wanted to get it out there. Lisa is with Brand Squad. She is also a member of the South Lake Business Leaders. Joe is with Remax. He is also with South Lake Business Leaders. And I, too, with Minuteman Press, are with South Lake Business Leaders.
And the Chamber of Commerce.
And the Chamber of Commerce. We're all Chamber of Commerce members. We're members of South Lake Business Leaders. And about a week or two ago, we were sitting around, thinking about how we can better serve our community and how we can better serve each other through the South Lake Business Leaders. And we've kind of kicked this idea around. And normally the South Lake Business Leaders finds a charity of choice for the year. And that's the charity that we donate time, effort, money to. And Joe and Lisa and I kind of kicked around the idea of, what if we just do a charity of the month? What it does is it gives 40 business leaders an opportunity to share 12 charities over the course of the year, which will definitely help that charity boost its exposure through 40 business leaders. It helps us because it gives a number of our business leaders an opportunity to mention a charity of their choice that they would like to help promote. So we can benefit 12.
Maybe we can go one step further and mention those charities monthly on our podcast too.
Well, we can mention them every week. We can actually run a tagline or a commercial, where we normally have our commercial to spread that. So that's an idea that we've kind of kicked around. We'll obviously talk about it with the group as we get later in the year, but I think that's a good thing to spread the love, to spread the exposure, to all these different charities, and it helps us as business leaders expose our businesses. So.
Sometimes we totally miss the idea that, exposing your business, you need to expose your business to a wide front of people while concentrating on those that you serve the best.
Correct.
I'm writing my book, Renter Nation, and I'm trying to develop the avatar, and it's not quite as, the avatar is the perfect reader, and it's not quite as easily done as you might originally think, right? Because, everybody wants to live in a house, right? Well, that doesn't help me sell a book. It doesn't help me target a book to the people who the book will help the most.
Correct.
Right? So doing some work on who it will help, what do I want people to do? What do I want them not to do? Who fits into that? And as business people, we don't often think that way about our customers. We think, let's open the door. Everybody's not your customer.
And we start to think that everybody knows that we exist.
That's right.
Which is the biggest fallacy in business.
That's right.
Just because you have a sign out front doesn't mean that people know that you're there.
That's right. So finding opportunity, and Ken and I both really believe in, and Lisa, believe in not just promotion, but giving back. And so by promoting several charities, it gives us a chance to broaden not only our awareness, but our perspective, and maybe lead us to people we didn't see. There are several charities that come to mind. I mean, we Faith Neighborhood Center, Find, Feed, and Restore, Pastor Brian Broadway out there in Groveland, the Hope Center here in Claremont. This is just, that's three right off the top of the Greater Claremont Cancer Foundation, GCCF.
Sounds
all
like
of
Animal League.
I
love the Animal
League. But these are organizations that all need our help. And the beauty of having a charity, and you could do this in your own life. It's not just like we're suggesting this.
Yeah, anybody can do this. It's not rocket science.
If you're terribly passionate about one organization, do you, boo? Okay, put all your time and money and energy there. But if you're not, it's okay to give yourself a list of charities you want to support and then concentrate on that charity that month. That's where your volunteer hours will be that month. That's where your money will go that month. And that might give you an opportunity to spread your wings and get to know more of your community, become better part of your community. Recently, I was talking to the Chamber Ambassador Committee and telling them about how the benefit of the Ambassador Committee when I first joined was I didn't know anybody in Claremont. And because I was an ambassador, I signed up for the outreach committee because it was reaching out, and it got me in my car. Again, it's this kind of like this accountability, right? It got me in my car once a week on Friday mornings. We had a donut program then.
Donuts.
Yeah, donuts.
I love donuts.
You'd think everybody loves donuts,
Man.
but not so much. So we'd go out and we'd deliver a box of donut holes and things like that. And so, but it made me go drive around to 5 or 6 different businesses. And that turned into my habit of having coffee with people at Panera Bread. I was scheduling 4 or 5 appointments every Tuesday. I got to start to connect to people, but it's that by spreading myself out, people got to know me. Now I can walk into almost any group in the South Lake area. Somebody will say, "Who knows?" And a good number of people, at least 1 or 2,
somebody always knows.
Somebody always knows. Joe knows. So. And that's what you want for your business. You want your business to be well known and out there.
And even if you're not in business, find something you're passionate about and donate a little bit of time. I'll say this: the time that you donate is just so rewarding for whatever it is you do. I mean, time is valuable too. But you know what? You meet new people. You meet people with common interests. You set goals and you build other people up. And they will build you up. You're
going to volunteer and you're going to find people that you don't know are supporting that cause.
Correct.
So you may find your tribe, right? I mean, that's one of the things I found is the coolest. I'll go do something and then there'll be people there, Okay, time for the Marketing Minute.
Who's up first?
We'll make Lisa go.
Make me go first.
All right, I'll go first.
Wait, it's already on me.
What's on you? You got a camera on you? You go, girl.
Hey, everyone. Lisa Rose with Brand Squad. Today I've got just a cute little thing. It's a tape measure and keychain that is shaped like a house. Great for realtors. And it only measures up to 3 feet. So it's, for measuring like where your refrigerator is going to go or whatnot. So it won't measure an entire room. But it's a cute little way to get your name out there. It's in a keychain. So hopefully it's something that they'll hang on to. These go for $1.58 a piece for 250 of them, a minimum. So, that's my Marketing Minute.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, even if it's 3 feet long, if you have a pencil, you can measure 3 feet, draw a pencil on the wall, measure another 3 feet, draw a pencil on the wall, and
there you go. There's an
measure
idea.
the whole room.
That's right.
Thank you, Lisa.
If you have any other items that you're curious if we carry, just go on brandsquadfl.com and in the search bar, just type it in.
Perfect.
That's my Marketing Minute.
Perfect.
Back to you guys.
Hey, well, why not? Ken Rhodes with Minuteman Press. We design, print, and promote you. We are the printing industry. My Marketing Minute's about guerrilla marketing. And we did something last week with business leaders that if you're in business and you see somebody out there that seems to be more successful than you, ask them a simple question. And we did this last week. We said, tell me about the most outlandish marketing idea you had to get business. And think outside the box when you're marketing sometimes, because you'll be surprised. You think outside the box once, and then you'll always think outside the box and build your brand. build your business.
Man, I'm sorry I missed that one.
Yeah. Oh, right. You weren't there. Oh, that's funny.
That's been a good one. I was sick.
That's funny.
All right. I'm Joe Carlisle with Remax Titanium, and my marketing minute is you got to know what you're trying to accomplish. I shared a little bit earlier about a customer I'm working with. Spoke to somebody last night about a listing, and the question I always start with is, what are you trying to accomplish? It's not important enough. It's not enough to know that you're just trying to sell a house or you're just trying to buy a house. Your real estate professional should be a partner with you in what you're trying to accomplish. Because selling your house, if you're trying to move in with your mother because she needs your help, selling your house isn't enough. They have to be aware that you have to go someplace. You have to be able to find a place in the price range of what the proceeds will allow. What are you trying to accomplish? And that's my marketing minute. You should always start with, what are you trying to accomplish? If you're just trying to cash out, that's easy, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're trying to get closer to your husband's work. You need a professional that can figure out what that's going to entail, how to structure your deal so that people will look on it favorably. And that's my marketing minute. I know, boring, right?
There you go, everybody. There you go. Another episode in the books. I'd like to thank everybody that tuned in today. If you didn't tune in today, obviously you'll see us tomorrow at 10 on our edited version. And and again, if you'd like to advertise on the show, instead of Tiki Hut Studios, we can have your name up there, sponsored by, Brand Squad or whatever you want. Give us a call. If you have a commercial that you have, let us know. Maybe we'll drop it in as a promo to help you out.
What's the phone number they need to call if they want information?
What's your phone number, Lisa? No. You can actually call the office here, 352-394-7770. That's probably the easiest, because this way I'll tell you how to send the files. If you want to reach out to Joe, you can reach out to him too, and he'll say
08387.
And
and I'll say call Ken.
And he'll say call Ken, because that's what we told you to do originally. And we'll pre-flight your commercial, and if it looks great, we'll slap it in the middle of one of our segments. Oh. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Joe No Show.
You guys
Bye,
have
everybody.
a great day. Bye. I love you.